Join me right now on Kumite TV is undefeated UFC heavyweight Juan Adams. What's going on, Juan?
Nothing much, man. Just finished jiu-jitsu practice. How are you?
Good, man. The first thing I want to get into is it seems like you have become the boogeyman of the UFC heavyweight division just after one fight. Because a lot of guys seem like they're dodging you, man. They're ducking you.
Yeah. It's weird. I wouldn't even call it ducking. They just won't fight me. Like I said, it took me 5 months to get a fight, and even once we got this fight, the dude took like 2 or 3 days to sign the contract. So it's a little ridiculous. I've asked to fight Greg Hardy before we were in the UFC. Actually, I've asked to fight him, and they've kind of been avoiding me. So. I'm just like I told him. Outside of the top five, I'm not. I'll sign any fight on 10 minutes notice, man. I really don't care.
Does it give you kind of a boost of confidence that guys are very hesitant to fight you? Even if they were to fight you, they probably want to fight you now, rather than later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's my logic. If you were somebody that was brought in around the same time as me, or another young up and coming prospect, or even somebody ranked higher than me, I just signed, so I'm gonna be in the company for a while, and I'm only gonna get better the more time I'm in here and the more time I devote to training. So statistically, I'm only getting better every day. So the best time to fight me is sooner rather than later. Like, I'm never gonna be any worse than I am right now.
Well, you had a successful UFC debut last year. Then the UFC put up a tweet after your fight, the TJ Dillashaw of the heavyweight division. Last year, that's a huge compliment, but now, not so much, man.
Yeah, that tweet definitely did not age well. I actually made a joke about that today. It's funny because I've been accused of steroid use since I was an amateur. Even when I was in high school, like right around the time I got my growth spurt, they started testing me in high school. I got to college, the NCAA tested me, first chance they got. I got tested 3 or 4 times in college by the NCAA. And now, for my first LFA, my first pro fight with LFA, they tested me. My Contender Series fight, I got tested. And then for my UFC fight, even for my fight in UFC Milwaukee, as soon as I got to the arena, I got tested. So it's I guess it's a compliment. They think that I'm not natural, so that's cool. I'm cool with it. I'm always gonna make a joke about it, but it's just funny to me at this point. But yeah, the TJ Dillashaw comparison. Hopefully, I live up to the positive and not the negative.
Definitely. Well, he did get busted for EPO and got a 2-year suspension by USADA. EPO is known as one of the most effective PEDs out there. Is the suspension long enough?
Right. Honestly, we don't know how long he's been using it. I think for a first offense of something of that magnitude, a 2-year ban is, I think it is long enough. And I think during that ban, he needs to be tested regularly, obviously. But for me, it's, there just needs to be something, there needs to be some consistency. Like marijuana, which is widely renowned as it doesn't increase your performance. It might help you sleep better after a hard day of training, be a little less sore, be good for pain management. But based on the research we know, it doesn't make you a better athlete. And, to give someone like Nick Diaz a 5-year ban for marijuana and then only get a 2-year ban for episterone or EPO, erythropoietin, something like that. For that, Lance Armstrong was stripped of all of his Tour de France's when he tested positive for that. So a 2-year ban, I think, as long as he comes back clean and continues to, be clean from this point forward, I think that's effective. But also it depends on how the UFC is going to, punish him also. Is he going to come right back and get a title shot? Is he going to, have to work his way up again? We really don't know. So only time will tell.
Yeah, I think in that 2 years, a lot of people forget who TJ Dillashaw is. You know how the sport goes. If you don't fight,
Right.
nobody cares about what you're doing.
Exactly.
All right, let's turn, the attention to your upcoming fight at UFC Ottawa. You're taking on Arjan Bhullar. He has a decent record, 8-1. What are your thoughts on him and his run so far in the UFC?
Unremarkable. Is the best word I can use for it. None of his fights stand out to me. I never watched him fight. My coaches watch his film. I haven't. I don't like to watch film with my opponents. I just think about what I'm going to do to them. I listen to the cues from my coaches. They tell me what to look out for. And I just go from there. But, you obviously have to respect his record a little bit. Respect that he's been there a long time. Respect that he's been a competitor for a long time. But from a physical standpoint, I just don't think he matches up with me in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to walk in the cage 40 pounds heavier than him. I'm going to have a 5 to 6 inch height advantage, a 6-inch reach advantage, and an 8-inch leg reach advantage. So it doesn't bode well for him. I think I'm a different level of athlete than he is. I don't think he's a power athlete. I don't think he's a strength-based athlete. He's his cardio is a lay and pray style or a lucky punch is the only chance he really has to beat me. So I'm very happy about the matchup. Obviously, respect him as an opponent, respect him as a pioneer for the sport, and what he's doing. He's one of the first fighters of Indian descent to actually, fight, first person to wear a turban to the weigh-in. So you have to respect what he's done and what he's doing for his people and all that. But when we step in that cage, it's me versus him, and accolades don't really matter. It's all about what you're bringing that night.
With the respect, and of course you have, confidence going into this fight. If you could give him a compliment on his skill set, what would the compliment be?
It's effective. I'll give him that compliment. It's effective. His takedowns do look crisp. They do look clean. So I'll give him that compliment as well. But that's about where it stops for me.
All right, let's talk about your training camp. How has that been going? I know you cut down to get it to 265. Has that been going easily?
A cut's never easy. Cutting 30 pounds is never an easy feat. But I'm about 285 right now, walking around between 285 and 288. So we're gonna keep that up, and it's going well. The diet it's stressful. For me to get down to 285, I need to be on about 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day. More often, it's closer to 2,000 than 2,500. So it's tough, only consuming that much food in a day. And obviously the workouts are intense. I just finished my third workout of the day, so that's been a struggle. But this is a full-time job. This is my career now, so I just have to make the most of it.
Are you counting the calories yourself, or are you having someone help you out with that? Because I know it's very stressful, man.
It is. My strength and conditioning and athletics coach, he's also he'll also be in my corner for the fight, but he's a double major, right? He's about to graduate, actually. So, actually, my fights, the day we get back from the fights, he has finals that week. So, but he's graduating this year with a double major in exercise science, exercise physiology, and human nutrition. So, he shows all the food. He showed me how to cook all the food. So I do cook the food myself, but all the calories and stuff are monitored by him, and what actually goes into my body is monitored by him very closely.
You're very active on social media. Have you ever thought about making a little mini cooking show, during camp, show everybody what you're doing?
Not really, because I cuss a lot when I cook, and I mess things up quite a bit. So I don't want to put that out there. And also, it's weird. I have to be really active, but I don't want to show people too much of what I do day to day because I don't want people copying me.
Definitely. Is there anything you focused on in particular in this camp?
We really focused on power production and muscular endurance this camp. So, there were some questions. I had a little bit of an adrenaline dump last fight that kind of saw me take my foot off the gas a little bit. We don't want to do that this time. We don't want there to be any question on my cardio or what kind of shape I'm in. So there was that. But other than that, I focused a little bit more on my wrestling. it's one of those things where I've wrestled for 14 years now, so it's not something that's new to me, something that I don't understand. I wrestle at a very high level, but you can always get better at something. So the big goal of this camp is just to be better at something every workout. We're focusing on something, and all around we just want to get better overall. We never want to get to a point where we're coasting.
After your last fight, you talked about some issues with your contacts. You didn't know that you could not wear contacts in the fight. Did you get the LASIK surgery after the last fight?
I got PRK, which is a different form of laser correction, but it's sanctioned in all states to fight with. With LASIK, there's some sanctions or some bodies that won't let you fight with it, but with PRK is pretty much universally accepted, so you can fight with that. So I got that surgery 2 weeks after my fight, actually, or 3 weeks after my fight. I got that surgery, and I've been good ever since. My vision's it still fluctuates a little bit. Some days it's 20/20, some days it's 20/15 or better, because they're not fully healed yet, but they're at a point where I can get hit and not tear up, and my cornea won't be damaged at all. So that's good. I got cleared for contact at 2 weeks after the surgery. So it's been smooth sailing and getting used to it from there.
It must be such a relief now, you don't have to worry about putting in contacts, because I've used contacts before too, and it's just a hassle. It's just like irritating.
Yeah, no, that definitely, it was frustrating before. They would fall out during sparring. They fell out in some of my fights, actually. So being able to wake up and just see every morning driving isn't a hassle. Occasionally I'll have to put, some moisturizing drops in my eye. What is new is allergies. Well, the allergies and the pollen in there in Houston, it's been crazy. Like, the first time my eyes really gotten puffy, or I've had the dry eyes or the itchy eyes from allergies. So it's a new set of problems, but they're good problems to have.
We spoke after your Contender Series fight, and you were single and ready to mingle. But then after your last fight, your debut, you said that you had a girlfriend. Has that affected you in a positive way during this camp?
I would say so. It's weird. There's, being single, it's pretty stress-free at times. It's one of those things where, like, if I want to deal with a chick, I deal with a chick. If not, I just train. Only thing now, it makes me a lot more conscientious of my time. It forces me to schedule things better, and but it is good. It's a relief in some ways, because there's that consistency, and with this thing, with fighting or with anything, the more consistency and more regimented you can have everything, the better it is. So it's been a big relief, and it's definitely affected me positively. It's helped the weight cut a lot, actually, because she don't like it when I get too fat, so I got to keep my weight down closer to fight weight. So that's been a positive.
Your Octagon jitters are gone now. Do you expect a much more devastating and quicker finish in this fight?
Definitely, I definitely do. I don't know how tough he is. Like the saying goes, everyone has a plan until you get hit in the face. So we'll see how it goes, but I do expect it to be more devastating this time around. I don't know about necessarily faster. How fast it goes depends on how much damage the opponent can take and when the referee decides to step in. But I'm in much better shape this time around. I feel a lot physically stronger and a lot more explosive. And also I'm not nervous. My last fight, I was having a lot more nerves going into it. This time I'm not really experiencing any of that.
Now let's turn our attention to the UFC heavyweight division. Daniel Cormier, he's calling for Brock Lesnar again. He wants that fight badly. Brock, he's also a known cheater, and he's not an active fighter. Chase, people understand that you want to chase the money fight, but is DC holding up the division and this sport at this point?
I don't think so. He is holding up the division in a way, but at the same time, he beat the champ, and there's no clear number one contender right now. I thought Curtis Blades was going to be next in line, but Stipe hasn't fought since their fight. He's due for a fight, so You know, and then with JDS coming back into it, him and Ngannou getting back on a winning path, winning program. Derek Lewis is in. Volkov is suspended. Derek Lewis had knee surgery, so that's two guys out right there. But between the return of JDS, Francis Ngannou coming back, and Curtis also just picking up another win, that's 3 or 4 guys right there that we don't really know who deserves an outright shot right now. So while they fight it out, I don't think DC's done anything wrong by not defending a title when there's really no one to defend against. The UFC's made it clear they don't want to give Stipe Miocic a rematch at that weight, so he needs to fight again to earn another title shot, which I don't think that was 100% fair to Stipe because he went a while being the champ. But at the same time, you know, you can't really force these things. You can keep asking, and he's being continuously told no. If they want to bring in revenue and, you know, make a big fight, get more eyes on the sport, that's good, you know, because that means other fighters get paid more. So it's good and bad. It's bad in the sense that, you know, it sets a precedent for people not really earning a title shot. It sets a precedent for the rankings not mattering, and it doesn't really lean towards a true meritocracy. But at the same time, you know, it's a business, so you got to treat it like that.
Stipe, he has been holding out for a long time now. You know, he only wants the DC fight. Do you think that's a huge mistake on his behalf? Because he's only getting older, and he might never get that shot.
Yeah, I do think it's a huge mistake because DC's made it pretty clear he's retiring after one more fight, and he's also made it clear that he's going to hold out for a money fight. Stipe versus DC isn't a money fight. All Stipe is really doing is decreasing his stock right now. It's one of those things where it's a gamble, and if it pays off, great, but it's been pretty clear that it's not going to pay off. So if anyone's holding the division up, I would say it's Stipe more so than DC. Stipe could have gone out and really, in the time that's been, he could have fought 2, possibly even 3 times already and reestablished himself as the clear number 1 contender. But he didn't do that. And so as going into it, he's on a 1-fight losing streak right now. He lost his last fight. So that doesn't really bode well or increase your chances for a title shot.
All right, one last thing before I let you go. You know, you're deep into camp. You know, who are the artists that you listen to kind of get you revved up? You know, when you're riding around in your car, who are you bumping?
That's weird. Right now I'm listening to a lot of Disney playlists. And then KO, The Conspiracy, actually. He wrote my walkout song, so I always I listen to him a lot during the last few weeks of camp. I have a playlist called Fight Camp. It's the same 51 songs. And every now and then I'll take one out and add one in there, but that one's just a weird mix. It's got like Disney, it's got a little bit of got some Disney, a little bit of Taylor Swift. I just had to delete all the R. Kelly off of there. That sucks. It's tough because there's some songs I don't even realize are R. Kelly. I'll be driving, I'm like, oh damn, I gotta next it. But there's even some Nicki Minaj on there. So I've got a really wide variety, a lot of Michael Jackson. So.
All right, man. Well, May 4th, you return to the Octagon, UFC on ESPN Plus 8 in Ottawa, Canada. Thank you, Juan, for your time, and good luck to you, sir.
No problem, man. Thank you. Have a good one.